All right. Good morning again. Here we go. Chapter 13, Volume 3. The morning of our departure, the community was awakened at 3 o'clock by the voice of the Chela chanting. We were aware that something unusual was happening as he was inviting all to come forth for a moment. As we stepped out from the temple, the light of the Portatat Sangha blazed forth so brightly that the whole section was aglow. The cellist stood on the corner of the temple and asked for silent contemplation. We could see hundreds of forms standing with their arms upraised. The silence was broken by the words, "Hail, hail, hail," the master Puriji chants. Thousands of voices joined in. The echo gave the effect of many more thousands. In the stillness of the morning, every word could be heard. These were his words. Could there be a God of the Hindu, a God of the Mongol, a God of the Jew, and a God of the Christian? There is a true universal principle, director, primal, infinite, and divine. The central light of that principle is called God. God must enfold all. God does enfold all. All are God. It surely does not mean a God of just one and not for all. Surely this is the case. Now we see this would be, anything else would be ridiculous to us now at this point. When we speak of God, we speak of one and all, for all, in all, through all, and of all. Should the Hindu name his God and say there is no other, his thought is divided. Should the Mongol name his God and say there is no other, his thought is divided. Should the Jew name his God and say there is no other, his thought is divided. Should the Christian name his God and say there is no other, his thought is divided. A house divided unto itself is shattered and must fall. United it does maintain forever. Choose you whom you will serve. Division is failure and death. Unity in the father-mother principle is eternal progress, honor, and dominion. Om, om, om. And my suspicion is if you're watching this and listening and reading along at this point, we've made our decision, right? So it seems as though this Om reverberated around the whole world. We could hear the echoes of the Om reverberations for at least 10 minutes. And though a temple gong had sounded, at times it seems as though the rocks themselves were giving forth the Om. As these reverberations gradually ceased, all gathered in the great rock amphitheater below us, and we joined the assembly. When we were seated with our group, Yogi Shanti raised his arms above his head, and in unison, all chanted the Om as before. Again, the rocks seemed to send forth vibrations. This lasted till the meal was finished. As we arose, all stood silent for a moment, then sang Chela, "We shall bid you farewell, and our greatest blessing we leave. As we depart from your most gracious presence, may we ask the honor of a return welcome. We hesitate to depart and know that we with longing hearts and eyes shall look forward to our return. We bid you farewell. May the richest blessings of all that is holy be bestowed upon you." The reply came as still with one voice, "Loved ones, we are never parted. Though you may think space separates us, not so. Distance has no power to separate, for God and yourself permeate all space. We need not even say farewell, for we see you at all times face to face. You do not go, you do not come. You are always here. There is no time, no parting, no passing. The present is here, hence the future also. Where can we be except we are all together in God? Do not go hence, come hither, and you are always here." And this is our theme, that we're working on, right? This is the theme. And these realizations, and as this unfolds, it's beautiful. And yeah, I hesitate sometimes to say things, but it's just us and God, right? And there is truly no separation, and it is one. That's it. This gets pounded into us until we understand this. Non-separation, right? So as the words floated out of us, or out to us, we were well on the trail. All our steps were retreating. We were still there. There was no parting, and we have never felt that we actually left that sacred place. All day long, the cello laughed and sang. Again, his laughter and song lifted us bodily, as it were, over the most difficult places. We arrived again at Mahamuni, the silent one, at 2 o'clock that afternoon. Instead of stopping for the night, we pushed on, and though we traveled for 16 hours and covered over 70 miles that day, we were not fatigued. Thus we traveled to Sansarwar. Here we were conducted to a beautiful temple near the lake, where we rested for 2 days before pushing on through the Trans-Himalaya Pass. This is a near paradise. The lake rests like a jewel in the great mountain setting. Birds sang from the trees all about us. Here the greater portion of the party lived. We would go on to Muktanath with Yogi Shanti, the laughing cello accompanying our party. We had often heard of the difficulties of this pass, but although we were many days on the trail, we encountered very few difficulties and reached Muktanath in due time. There we were again greeted by a meal and a number of our friends. No words can convey the pleasure we experienced at this reunion. We had traveled far and had been accorded the greatest hospitality and kindness. Yet here we experienced the thrill of a true homecoming. While we were relating some of our experiences that evening, Emil said, "Now you know why the Tibetans at altitudes of 21,000 feet are apparently undisturbed with heavy loads upon their backs. Now you know how they climb Mount Everest as they claim. They go to the crest of the god of the mountains, as they call Mount Everest. They overcome or come up over the god of the mountain, just as they overcome the god of any burden. In other words, they let go the burden. Then the burden does not exist. You cannot put a burden upon the shoulders, much less upon the form of the true God-man. Now you may see the truth in Jesus' statement, 'Come unto me, all you that are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest.' His true statement was, I am does give you rest. When you rest in the I am, you change from the God of burden to God that is rest and peace. You have come up over the God of burden to the Father of rest. Therein you carry no burdens. God the Father is man's power to think rightly and directly through any condition. Oh, I've been mowing the lawn the last 2 days, and boy, I really did it. Pull up on all that lawn, all that dust and dirt and whatever's hanging on to that. Man, as the poor worm of the dust, is not in God consciousness. This is man expressing the worm consciousness only. If you are shooting at a target and you wish to hit the mark, you must focus your whole thought upon the center of the target. Then, with your will and complete focus, you must see nothing but the mark. When you have hit the mark, you have brought forth or accomplished God in a degree. God is your divine ideal, the focal point upon which every thought and act is centered. It is in this way that you bring forth the divine spiritual man, Christ of God, the Word made flesh. The flesh is God, as well as God is around the flesh. Make your subjective one objective, a willing and all-wise worker with God principle. Head straight for your objective. Make that objective the divine spiritual life that God within you is, and God sees for all. Now, we read these things and we blow past them, but this is all very profound stuff. To have the revelation that God is this and all of this, and to rest in that is a huge deal. So, no one ever accomplished anything unless, with all his will and complete focus, he held his objective, God, directly before the pure mirror of his thought force. That thought force is himself acting as God, demanding of himself that his attention be so thoroughly focused upon his objective, God, that God, is brought forth instant. The instant God is objectified, present the mold or pattern, present the mold or pattern you desire, and it is filled full. If this were not an absolute fact, you would not, nor could you, have thought of your desire. When your desire is set forth in this way, it is divine. With your divinity always projected, your desire is conceived in divine order. It is wholly within your power to say when it shall come forth. You are always in command. You have all power to speak the word of authority. To all outer things, your command is complete silence. Yes, it is. Now you can say definitely and knowingly, there is no greater power than the Christ within me. I now send forth my Christ endowed word. It does accomplish all things instantly. There is no greater driving force than my Christ endowed word. I praise, bless, and send it forth with abundance, harmony, and perfection. You have first spoken the word, God, which represents your true desire. Never go back again to the asking. This attitude engenders doubt, but go on, recall that you have what you have done. You have put forth your Christ word. You are in command. The thing is finished and complete. It is in divine order. I thank you, God, for life and light, abundant, full and free, for perfect, boundless wealth and power, unhampered liberty. Recall that if any two unite their spiritual force, they can conquer the world. Even though singly they can do nothing. These two are God and you, united in one purpose. If others will unite with you with the same sincerity of purpose, your power becomes greater as the square of the number of persons. Thus, every person standing forth, one with God and united with you, becomes the power that is increased fourfold. If two of you shall unite with God as touching any one thing, they shall ask, it is done for them of my Father. My God becomes your God, and we are together. Together with God, man conquers that which is not godlike. Go into your closet, your God self, shut the door to all else, close the outer eyes, see singly your true God self. You have quietly put yourself into a spiritually receptive mood. God principle is the one point. I am one with universal life energy. It is flowing through me. I know it. I feel it. I thank God, my Father, that I have the ability to accomplish all things. When you pray to God, I am in direct contact with all universal life energy. You are using it in limitless measure. God is the name you give to the all-wise, intelligent spirit. And this spirit is within as well as without every human being. It is necessary for you to let God stand forth through you into outer expression. Therefore, it is not necessary to seek knowledge and help from outside sources. When you know that the source of all knowledge, the spirit of all knowledge, the understanding truth is latent within you. Why seek knowledge from without as God, the universal spirit, is within? Through this understanding, you call upon this principle. When you accomplish any one thing, you know that the God within is the greatest of teachers. You realize that all the power you possess is first drawn to you, then generated within your body and sent forth to accomplish whatever you direct it to bring forth. This is God emanating through you, not a personal God, but an all-inclusive God within you. When you let God stand forth from within, you are connected with God, as God interprets all conditions. By worshiping God within and seeing God standing forth from you, you are worshiping God, the deity in the whole human family. To worship an outside deity is to bring forth idolatry. To worship God within, to see God standing forth from within out to all the world, is to bring forth and be conscious, in conscious contact with the emanations of God life and light everywhere. There cannot be a deity outside of your body that is not within your body, as all is vibrating or emanating energy. Thus, these vibrations flow through your body as well as around it, and the vibrations of deity include every atom of your whole body, as well as the whole mass of the universe. Thus, you put God everywhere, before all, within all, around all, enveloping all, and enfolding all. There is not an atom of space that does not have the emanating energy of light and life flowing through it. Having finished this discourse, Emil said that they would meet us in Hardwar and bade us good night. Well, that's a great day. Hey, so chew on that. I'm out. And we'll see you next time. That's pretty incredible. To be getting all this information. And it's just as incredible for us here to be getting all of this, honestly. So with that being said, I'm going to stop the video here at this chapter, and we'll pick it up with the next one. All right.